Since we are experiencing extremely cold temperatures in the greater West Bloomfield area, you can't ignore it. We all should be aware of hypothermia, something that is definitely at risk during these freezing cold temperatures. So how can we manage hypothermia in this freezing cold temperature? That's why I'm being joined right now live from the West Bloomfield Fire Department, Fire Captain Hans Drews. Thank you for being here, Captain.
Hey, Kevin, my pleasure. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you also, sir. So we're here in the middle of winter during some on and off extremely cold temperatures. So I'm happy to have you here. I just want to start off by asking, how prepared do you think West Bloomfield residents are for dealing with hypothermia and frostbite emergencies during this winter season?
Yeah, overall, I think that our residents are well prepared. I think that probably those who don't grow up in Michigan and in this area, it's a little bit more of a struggle. But for the most part, most of us as Michiganders are well prepared and kind of have a decent idea of what to do. However, this is a great opportunity for me to answer any questions you have. And if there's anything I can do to help our residents out, it's been my pleasure.
Great segue, Captain. Great segue. With that being said, let's get straight into it, because I've been driving around looking at some of our beautiful lakes, but I see some tents set up on those lakes. Lake is completely frozen. I might even see someone ice skating every now and then. So I want to talk about, are there any common issues or situations that your team encounters when it comes to hypothermia or frostbite calls?
Yeah. So, speaking of the lakes, obviously West Bloomfield, lots of water within the township. And we have residents who are using the lakes year round, and it's a great opportunity. However, in the colder seasons, obviously we got to be careful on going on the ice, right? So the standard safety is that you check the thickness of the ice before you go on it. 4 inches thick is generally accepted as 4 inches or thicker as what's safe to be on the ice.
Okay.
And so here in West Bloomfield, we do deal with cold water drownings and people falling through the ice. And that is something that we do deal with. But your question you asked about as far as what is more common. And so although that is something that we do deal with, I would say that as far as a common issue, my biggest concern is the elderly patients or elderly people. I'm not sure exactly what, as you're getting older, and maybe, you think that you're still a spring chicken, and you can be out there, doing what you did when you were younger. And, so maybe take that in consideration, right? And then certainly check on your neighbors, check on your family, make sure that they are aware of how cold it is and they're not going out in the cold. That would be my recommendation.
First and foremost, great information, great response to that. First and foremost, you really don't realize how cold it is until you go outside. Even if you look at the temperature, you say it says 7 degrees. What does 7 degrees feel like? You don't know until you go outside, especially go outside unprepared. So that's one thing. Moving on to our next question, I want to bring up the fact that at a very young age, I learned that when you are outside freezing, your hands, your limbs are cold, the first thing you should not do is put your hands and feet in hot water. I did that. It was the worst pain I probably ever felt in my entire life. I want you to walk us through the steps your department takes when responding to some of these hypothermia or frostbite-related emergencies.
Yeah, good question. So slow warming, right? Obviously, what we're doing in our efforts, so it's a little different than what everybody at home is doing. But, one thing we're doing is every day, our men and women are making sure that all of our apparatus are ready to go, that we have all the equipment that we need, and that we're ready at a moment's notice to respond and deal with whatever the situation is. In particular, responding to a hypothermia call, we're going to make sure that our patient compartment of our rescue, that we've got our heat on high, turned up, fan on high, and just trying to create a space where we can bring a patient into where we're already going to start the warming process by just bringing them into a warmer environment. So those are some of the things that we're doing in preparation for that. We have heat packs so that we can warm people up using a heat pack, or to warm up the IV fluid should we have to, depending on how severe the case is.
Oh my goodness. As we were talking and I even brought that up, I just thought back to that time when I was like 10 years old outside playing and went to my great grandmother's house, so cold, and she gave me a bucket of hot water to put my feet in. It was the worst thing ever. So thank you for explaining that.
Warm water is appropriate, right? So warm water is okay for someone at home to use, but yeah, definitely you want to slowly warm the temperature back up.
There you go. Oh, yeah, there you go. Slow progressing with that also. With us right here live on the Splash from the West Bloomfield Fire Department, Fire Captain Hans Drews, talking about hypothermia and frostbite management in the middle of these freezing winter temperatures. Don't want to hold you up too much longer. Just want to ask you a few other questions, if you don't mind. Let's say we're in a situation where one person amongst a group of people is experiencing frostbite or hypothermia, and they called emergency responders to come, but for the time being, until that 5 or 10 minutes that they're there, what should some of the bystanders do to help that person experiencing that emergency?
Yeah, great question. So you can try and shield them from the wind if you are outdoors. If you're able to get them indoors, ideally that would be what you want to do, is try and get them into a warm environment. If they're wet, you're going to want to remove any wet items or wet layers of clothing. But beyond that, it's really just a matter of trying to warm them up to the best of your ability. Stay away from the hot water. You don't want to, like we talked about already, you just want to you put some blankets on them and just do your best to try and protect them from the elements and warm them up.
Yep, good point. And it would seem like common sense, but it just makes so much more sense when you explain it the way that you do, Captain. Hey, we appreciate your time. One last question. I just want to bring this up because we're talking to a member of the fire department. You would usually associate that with, we only respond to hot situations, but we're here to let people know that our fire department goes beyond that. So beyond emergencies, specifically just beyond emergencies in general, how does our fire department contribute to overall winter safety in West Bloomfield?
Yeah, so we community risk reduction. That's a mindset that we have, that we're just always vigilant. All of our members are looking for things that might potentially be an issue, right? So in the winter, that could just be an unsafe road condition. Do we have the ability to put salt down or take care of that? No, we don't. However, we do have that communication line open with the county and our other responding agencies, whether that's the police department or the road commission, to try and make things safer for our residents. So that is something that we're just always mindful of, is just keeping our eyes open, keeping our heads on a swivel, and just trying to draw from our experience of what we've experienced through our career and our time on the job, and just kind of like, oh, all right, well, I see something that could potentially be a problem for somebody, for one of our residents. So let's do what we can do to try and mitigate that problem, because prevention is the best thing that we can do.
Hey, I couldn't thank you enough, for you and everyone at the West Bloomfield Fire Department, for every single thing that you do. And I say that on behalf of myself and everyone here at Civic Center TV. Once again, thank you again, sir. Fire Captain from the West Bloomfield Fire Department, Hans Drews. Thank you for your time, sir.
My pleasure, Kevin. Nice talking with you.
Love it, love it, love it.